You know it's past 10 a.m., right? I'm the one with the cold. Why are you guys still in bed?
Ah, Steve did show up. I was a little concerned there for a second, Rex. Were you concerned that Steve wasn't going to join us? Never. Who cares? As long as I get out the door. All right, Steve, go ahead. It stopped raining. 66 degrees at 10:15 on August 6th. It's a Tuesday. I recall Tuesday being the best day of the week several months in a row, going way back to those Tuesday blizzards and then Tuesday sunny days in springtime. Well, Tuesday of the first week of August, not so pretty, although I think that's kind of pretty. And you know what feels good? The temperature of 66 degrees. I think the dew point's also about 66 degrees. So the question of the day is, what does a hailstorm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, a tornado in Buffalo, New York, and a tropical storm, Debbie, in South Carolina, have to do with weather in New England? Well, it's an example of why we in New England have the most interesting weather on Earth. Debbie is a system that started in Africa more than 10 days ago. The storm in Calgary came from the Pacific Ocean, south of Alaska. And the tornado in Buffalo was a result of a front that's over New England right now. The hail, the tropical system, and this front are all ganging up to make our forecast an incredibly interesting challenge. We have the most interesting weather on Earth because it comes at us from every direction. T-Rex, are you going to chase that gull? Seriously? Nice to have you guys get out of bed anyway. So yeah, I don't have a rhinovirus. I don't have a coronavirus. According to one of our viewers, thank you for commenting, I have an enterovirus. How you know that without even feeling my forehead is very interesting. The word is the summer cold is often an enterovirus. Enteric having to do with the intestine. You Google that, you'll be disgusted like I was, so let's forget that and do the weather. Where do we start? This has to be one of the most videoed ever water spouts coming ashore, turning into a tornado yesterday in Buffalo. Buffalo weather on X, all over it, including the post-storm damage video of one roof that was lifted off. I mean, it looked kind of like a glorified water spout, but it did a lot of damage. And that was a precursor of more severe weather that came east from along I-90 in New York. And then, you know, I-90 bends south, turns into the Mass Turnpike. But the severe weather kept coming across eastern New York into southern New Hampshire, where once again, the same area, pretty close, Merrimack, New Hampshire, just west of Merrimack, had some significant large hail and some heavy rain and some storm damage. If you look at the Severe Storm Prediction Center map, you see three areas with the most significant weather. Well, there was a little in Idaho, it doesn't show Calgary, and southern Minnesota, several tornadoes, the coast of South Carolina, several tornadoes, and here in the Northeast, severe weather along the boundary with yesterday very close to 90, but a lot of spots fell just shy of 90. So the heat wave for us was really Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Not everyone had a heat wave, but it's been so hot for about the last week. This front this morning is significantly cooler, much cooler air coming in from the north. And for a change, it may not rain in Vermont today or tomorrow. Here's how much rain fell in Vermont again yesterday. It was a two-day total. Two-day total in Vermont. 2.5 inches from just east of Burlington to Littleton, New Hampshire. So we really need a break. There was more reports of flooding, I didn't realize, 2 days ago in Vermont, but not yesterday. So again, we have to watch all these systems. Did I show the hail in Calgary? Yeah, lightning too. Lightning, as we know, is a result of icing in the clouds and these thunderstorms and the updrafts and the downdrafts, separating the charges and resulting in tremendous amounts of electricity, 50,000 degree lightning bolts. So that system coming from the west is going to eventually drive the remnant of Debbie, whatever it is, tropical storm, post-tropical storm, north. And the guidance has really changed on that. If we look at the satellite image for this morning, there's Debbie in the bottom. There's our front strung out across from southeastern Canada, across southern New England, all the way out to near Alberta, Canada. And you see that little line of clouds to the south of the front that's over us? That's the front that came through here 2 days ago and is weakened. Now, a week ago, it looked like that was going to be the front that would pick up Debbie, and Debbie would be going by to our south tonight and tomorrow. But obviously, these things change. Debbie went to the west of Florida instead of the east of Florida. Now it's looking like it may try and go offshore. And the track is still very uncertain. Let's rewind a little bit. Did I show the temperature map yet this morning on this front that we have over New England where the rain just ended here at my house? New Haven, Connecticut, the cross means it's calm. 77 degree temperature, 77 degree dew point. Wow. In Boston, 64 temperature, 64 dew point, 66 temperature. And in Nashua, New Hampshire, 66 temperature, 66 dew point. So technically, that's still 100% relative humidity, but the 100% relative humidity in Nashua is much more comfortable than the 100% relative humidity in New Haven. Don't get me going on relative humidity. I almost hate the expression. It's the amount of moisture in the air relative to how much moisture the air can hold. I'd much rather go by dew point, and a dew point in the 60s is much better than a dew point in the 70s. Wow, look at that. It wasn't even raining. So I woke up at 4 o'clock and I looked at the radar. There was a lot of rain to our north. And then I took some cold medicine, went back to sleep for 4 hours, and we picked up a ½ inch of rain already. Today, this is batch number 1. There's another batch coming at us from the west this morning on the radar. Looks like a tornado warning just west of Detroit. Oh boy, here we go again. Well, with the cooler air in much of New England, that should result in non-severe thunderstorms coming across New England. But right over southern Connecticut and Long Island, there is a flood watch in effect where that front is stalled right now. And that's where we might have some severe storms, but we have another batch of rain coming in. So right to the HRRR for this rain, exiting stage right this morning. Another batch firing up and coming in, mostly across Connecticut, Rhode Island, maybe as far north as Boston. And those are torrential training downpours. And then it looks like they want to let up a little bit tonight, and maybe tomorrow, most of New England, and maybe Thursday too, has dry weather, but you can still see some scattered, probably pretty heavy storms from New York City to Cape Cod and the islands tomorrow afternoon. Let's do the quantitative precipitation forecast. How much rain? And there it is. No rain for northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, much of Maine. Boston, Providence, Hartford, kind of on the edge. The blue is just about an inch. And then you get to the purple, that's more like 2 inches. And then the mustard colors, that's more than 4. And if we total it all up, believe it or not, the heaviest rain with this, technically not a tropical storm, according to the HRRR, is near Tom Nevers. I put the cursor right over southeastern Nantucket and came up with close to 6 inches of rain. So this just shows you the potential. The HRRR is just a rough estimate on who's getting the most rain. And this is all ahead of Debbie. So what's happened to the forecast with Debbie? Let's look at the National Hurricane Center forecast from yesterday with the 2 a.m. Saturday position still over North Carolina, and that cone of uncertainty very wide from West Virginia to east of Virginia. And now here's today's cone of uncertainty. Look at the 2 a.m. Saturday position now. A lot farther north. It's now over north central Virginia, several hundred miles farther north. So the Hurricane Center is kind of following, I wouldn't say they're following our lead, but we had the right idea going with the Euro on this, with the speed and the track. But last night, all the guidance shifted to the west and the northwest. And a lot of that has to do with that storm coming out of Alberta, Canada. We always have to watch for the interaction. Usually there's a front that deepens over the Mississippi Valley and picks up these storms. And so far we've missed 2 or 3 fronts on this for the opportunity to lift it north. And it's always a delicate dance. So now, if we go into the Euro, I'll stop it a couple of times here and show you the different scenario for today compared to yesterday. So let's go forward. I think that this front that we're having over New England right now is a little further south. So we can see the rain going through here and ending tomorrow. And then let's freeze it again. 2 days ago I froze it at 2 p.m. on Thursday. Today, and then yesterday by accident, because I want to see that blue H, I freeze it at 11 a.m., which is 15Z. And you get a 1022 anyway, H over New England. That's high pressure, that's dry air, that's nice. And notice the rain is further south again today than it was, especially 2 days ago and yesterday. And then the storm down by the coast may go offshore and come back onshore as a 988 storm, still looking very tropical, pure tropical storm. But I want you to see the 1,008 millibar low near Lake Superior. That is that Alberta, let's call it an Alberta Clipper, why not? Have an Alberta Clipper come along and pick up a hurricane or a post-tropical storm. That front now looks a lot more intense over the Great Lakes, and that's the one that looks like it wants to grab Debbie. So we have to time that front from the west, and our stalled front here almost playing less of a role, except for the fact that it's going to generate more rain. So let's put it back into motion. You can really make out that front digging through the Midwest and reaching down the Appalachians, and here comes Debbie, taking more of an inland route and not looking pure tropical, looking post-tropical. That is mostly driven by cold air being infused onto the northwest side. And let's stop it again on Saturday afternoon. And this is a very different look. Last several times we've stopped it on Saturday, the Euro had it south of Nantucket and moving steadily to the east. Now it's over northern Vermont, and it's not even raining near the south coast of New England. Now you have, instead of a west to east band of rain, a north to south band of rain, very heavy. Terrible news for Vermont. Should not match Beryl, but alarming nonetheless. And the GFS actually has come around and looks a lot similar to this. Now the GFS, I got to admit, 72 hours ago did have the heaviest rain in Vermont. So that was for a little different reason, but now they look more similar. So if you're looking at the GFS and the Euro rainfall, it's understandable that you say, wow, that looks fairly similar. And the heaviest rain with this now would come through western New England. There's lots of implications on the wind, too, and the rain. This would be a strong southerly wind in much of New England. Probably not tropical storm force, but maybe gale force in the hills. And then the low keeps on going, put it back into motion, and it's definitely a post-tropical storm at this point, but it's strong. And so strong winds from the northwest, and incidentally, the rain will have ended on Nantucket if it rains at all on Saturday in time for the Boston Pops concert. But I'm sure a lot of things are going to be canceled just because we don't know what we're doing. As society in a whole, it used to be the politicians and the administrators waited for the weatherman to do something and make a decision, but now they just kind of do it on their own based on what the news producers write before the weatherman starts talking. Yeah, that's how it works now. Don't get me going on that. We're already at 15 minutes. Are you entertained? And it's starting to rain again. And, oh, did I go off on a tangent? Yeah, it's shocking. And then early next week, this is also very different with a strong storm in southeastern Canada, cold core, and winds of September coming across Ontario and Quebec into New England. Much drier and windy weather Monday, Tuesday. That's so different than how it looked 2 days ago, isn't it? Oh, boy. I know there's some stuff I didn't even show. Oh, the main point of all of this is that this front that's stalled over southern New England looks like it's going to go further south and dissipate. And Debbie's going to speed up and take more of an inland route and be caught up probably, and it's Tuesday. I'm not going to make the definitive call on a weekend until Wednesday. That's been my philosophy, but I do believe that we are going to see a shift more inland. Remember that happened with Beryl too about 5 days before the storm. Not saying this is going to be a Beryl repeat, but... And here in the Boston area with the northeast wind undermining the warm air, we may not see too much sunshine, but it does look like the sun's going to try and come out from about Boston and points north tomorrow afternoon and Thursday. All right, this is like a record weather analysis. That's what happens when you have the most interesting weather on Earth and it's raining again. And I'm going to do indoor work, paperwork today, and some work on other things besides chasing weather. I'm going to let the weather come to me. The Inmore from yesterday, fairly straightforward commentary and observations. And I think we might even have a Mitt sighting in there. The other Maine Coon that watches from inside. Talk to you tomorrow. You were so patient, Rex. You had enough of this rain? Yeah. Me too. All right. Talk to you. Yep, you guessed it. Taking off to the east again. A little sea breeze has developed. Beautiful Monday. Keeping the temperature in the lower 80s. T-Rex loves this. A little bit of a sea breeze front there, but the action again is in New York and Vermont. And I just looked at the Northeast Kingdom amounts of rain from yesterday. I was so obsessed with what was going on down here, I didn't realize that more roads were washed out again near East Burke, Vermont. And here comes the rain again. Relentless. It's always worse somewhere else than right here, that's for sure. Hunty. Monday's off. Good if you can get them. 3 o'clock update. Pretty sky wave right there. And then a towering cumulonimbus. That's way out over southern New Hampshire. Second day in a row. Smaller but stronger. Severe thunderstorm going right across Merrimack, New Hampshire. What do you have, Weir? Sort of a renegade. All the rest of them are way out in New York. Plenty of and more and more and more. It's hot out. Inside. We're half in the bag. Oh wait, this one's all in the bag. Hey man, good day for it. Logan Airport at 5:30 was 75 degrees. Nantucket was 77. Plymouth was 90. I can see Logan Airport right over there. My thermometer's over 100 in the sun, but that's what it feels like outside here. What an interesting thermodynamic day. But here comes the front. It's going to be helpful in lowering the temperature, but it's also going to create up a boundary. Predecessor, a rain event ahead of Debbie, even without a Debbie. A lot of rain in our forecast. Look at that mid-level alto Q above the lower level strata Q. There's Steve. And you can hear the songbirds. T-Rex, all excited. He loves hot weather. I do not like this. Looking forward to the cool off, but not forecasting this headache of rainstorm coming in. And there's Sandy and Lucy watching the waves roll in. And what do you got to say? Look at me, look at me. I am looking at you. What do you want? What do you want, Rex? Attention. That's all we all want. Speak for yourself, right, Tim? That's not what we all want. There's Lucy, that playful puppy. T-Rex understands that I'm talking to Lucy and wants a piece of the action. What is it, Rex? What do you see? He's like, are you talking to birds? I love chasing birds. Where'd it go? Where is it, Rex? Where'd it go? All right, just gonna leave regular time lapse today from my webcam. See which one is better, the sunset time lapse or the whole day time lapse, or maybe both. Could use a lighter edit day. Meanwhile, I'm going to apply some of this rodent sheriff. These leaves on this should be about the size of my head. Poor butternut squash. They're
Rodents just eat it as fast as they can. Good sized pepper in there. I guess they don't like pepper. And the tomatoes. Every low hanging pink tomato they go for. Not long until pumpkins show up. Still another few weeks, but all the Halloween decorations are in. Look at that green tomato, even that poor green tomato. All right, here's some time lapse and some piano music. Close out on Monday and greet you on your Tuesday. Talk to you on our Wednesday.